suspects are being. One case involves the FBI is now offering $100,000 to see for the police are releasing.
Welcome to Misty Mysteries, a true crime and paranormal podcast. My fact this week is the National Park Services in the United States has no database to keep track of missing persons in the parks, meaning no one really knows how many people are missing from the parks. This week, I'm going to tell you about a 6-year-old boy who went missing in the Smoky Mountains National Park. Have you heard of Anchor? Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. When I started Misty Mysteries, I didn't know where to go, and Anchor helped me get Misty Mysteries started without charging me an arm and a leg. Anchor is really my suggestion for anyone looking to start a podcast. It has tools that allow you to record and edit in-app or on the website. Anchor distributes your podcasts on all the listening places such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Good Pods, and all your favorite listening places. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place, and best of all, it's totally free, all on Anchor FM and on the Anchor app.
Hi, I'm Celeste.
Hi, I'm Richard.
Hey, I'm Christy.
And I'm Tally.
We're the hosts of Unethical Podcast. Every episode, we take a humorous dive into a case study that poses an ethical question, like, should mentally ill murderers ever be released?
No.
We discuss what the outcomes of these cases are and what they should be, with a unique guest host every episode.
Richard needs some more testosterone around here.
Nah, I think it's mostly coming from Celeste.
Girls are mean.
Our podcast is no holds barred, true crime, comedy, adult content, and definitely not for everybody.
But like most people aren't can handle swear words and stuff, right? Am I right about that?
No.
No.
You can subscribe wherever you eat your podcasts to listen. Follow us on Instagram where we post our teasers to guess what's coming next. And join us on Facebook to get involved in the conversation. Welcome to Unethical Podcast.
Dennis Lloyd Martin was born June 20th, 1962. He lived in Knoxville, Tennessee, with his parents and older brother. He came from a family of mostly men: grandfather Clyde Martin, father William Martin, and big brother Douglas Martin. The Martin family loved to go camping and had an annual camping trip during June for Father's Day in the Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee. Father's Day weekend of 1969, when Dennis was 6 years old, he was spending his first overnight trip camping with his grandfather, father, and brother on their annual camping trip to the national park, where they met up with another family who had the same last name, Martin, but didn't seem to be related. This family consisted of Carter Martin and his 2 boys. On the first day of the camping trip, the families hiked 10 miles of the Appalachian Trails from Cades Cove, one of the most popular hiking trails in the Smoky Mountains, to Russell Field, where the families camped overnight. The next day they woke up, packed their camp, and hit the trails again, this time traveling 2.9 miles to Spence Field, where the 2 families said would camp. At the campsite, Dennis and his brother were playing hide and seek with their 2 friends when all the boys decided they wanted to play a prank on the adults. They were going to hide and sneak up on the adults to surprise attack them. Dennis hid behind a different bush from the rest of the boys. Dennis's brother and the 2 other boys came running up on the adults from the bushes within minutes. The adults immediately noticed Dennis wasn't with them, and within 3 to 5 minutes, William, Dennis's father, began to call for Dennis while running towards Russell Field. His grandfather Clyde went the opposite way on the Appalachian Trail towards Thunder Mountain. Dennis was wearing a red shirt with green shorts, white socks, and black hiking boots. It should have been easy to spot with a red shirt, but William and Clyde both saw no sight of Dennis on the trail or near the campsite. Clyde went to report Dennis missing at the Cades Cove Ranger Station, which he reached about 8:30 p.m. that night, about 4 hours from when Dennis was last seen. It was already raining and dark, which made it a hard terrain to conduct any searches on, and nothing could have been done till the next morning on June 15th, 1969. On the first day of searching, 9 jeeps and 3 trucks brought in 240 searchers, and a helicopter brought in search equipment. The Rangers set up a base camp for search efforts. They also questioned every hiker and camper they believed were in the area Dennis went missing. June 16th and 17th, the trails in the drainage areas were searched with not only searchers, but FBI brought in bloodhounds in hopes to find Dennis. The Tennessee Air National Guard joined using military helicopters to aid the search, but were grounded early mornings due to fog. June 18th, the Martin family received multiple predictions from clairvoyants, and the search went from 300 to 700 searchers. Rain prevented military helicopters from flying, but searchers built bonfires and hoped to attract Dennis to them. June 20th, Dwight Carter, a retired park ranger who aided in the search for Dennis, said searchers were hauled up in a big 2-ton flatbed truck. Then they'd go and haul another load of them. The sheer amount of people with the Army and the local volunteers, it was a lot of people. More National Guardmen were called in to help, and the Special Forces had planned to stay indefinitely. The number of searchers was now at 1,400 from over 30 organizations. The searchers were given instructions to find Dennis with these rules. 1. Determine if he was dead or alive. 2. Notify the chief ranger as quickly as possible. And 3. Signal helicopters using a flag, tree, smoke, etc. June 23rd, the FBI came in again with bloodhounds who were unable to find any scent or evidence of Dennis being out in the park. And on June 26th, the White House joined the search for Dennis by the request of his family, bringing in 300 federal troops into search. On June 29th, 1969, the operations to find Dennis closed, and the chief ranger, an FBI agent, a district ranger, and a sub-district ranger all sat down with the Martin family to discuss the next steps to find Dennis. The Martin family was going to offer a reward, and with no evidence of foul play, they would continue to search for Dennis for 90 days. The search for Dennis Martin became one of the largest search efforts in the National Park Service history. It went on from June till early September. His grandfather Clyde spent years after Dennis disappeared searching for him, asking for help from experienced rangers. Even with the help of National Park Rangers, search clubs, and maintenance workers, FBI, and National Guard, no trace of Dennis was found, including the evidence that he was ever there. 6-year-old Dennis Martin was only a few feet away from his family when he disappeared. We may never know exactly what happened to Dennis, but there are many theories out there, including kidnapping, that was backed by a story of a family that was hiking in the area that heard an awful scream from a child and saw a tall Caucasian man that looked wild running with a child in his arms, but that was never confirmed to be Dennis. Animal attacks. There had been a lot of bear sightings that year. To wild people who people believe live in the Appalachian areas, and that's more on the paranormal side. And a child who just got lost in bad weather and perished due to exposure, which in later years, bones of a child was found, but they could never confirm that those bones were Dennis. What we do know is Dennis Martin is still missing from the Smoky Mountains National Park. He has been missing for 52 years now, since this Father's Day in 2021. Dennis would be 59 years old if he is alive today. Thank you for listening to Misty Mysteries. If you like the podcast, please share with friends, family, and on social media. Speaking of social media, you can find the podcast on places like Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Please leave a good review for the podcast on places like Apple Podcasts and Podchasers. If you'd like to support and help the podcast further, you can find it on Buy Me a Coffee where you can do a one-time donation for a shout-out, or with a membership, you receive an exclusive episode with a choice of topic for future episodes. You can find the podcast on listening places such as Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Good Pods, and so many more. As always, my sources will be found in the episode description, and I'll see you on Sunday.